It's only my second video and I'm already tackling the most controversial topic ever. Before we get into any theories, interpretations, and logics, let's lay down the facts. Fact number one, it's that all North Indian languages are Indo-European language, which means that they had a common ancestor with European languages. Well, most of European languages, except Hungarian, because Hungarian is Hungarian. The other fact is that every Indian, whether they are from North India or South India, has some admixture of both Aryan and Dravidian DNA. These people that spoke the Proto-Indo-European language, or Aryans, followed a religion that was a progenitor to the Greek religion or the Germanic religion or most European paganism, as well as Vedism. Now, Vedism is not Hinduism. It might be the biggest influence on Hinduism, but it's not Hinduism. These are the facts that every viewpoint agree on. This means that there were at least two civilizations with their own culture, language, and religion that clashed together to form the Indian civilization. Now, the conflict is when that clash happened and what it entailed. So, what is the Aryan invasion theory and what does it say and why is it so controversial? It states that Aryans, or light skinned people, rode into the Indus Valley civilization and destroyed and subjugated them. The people of Indus Valley civilization were mostly dark skinned Dravidians, and after they subjugated them, they made them the lower caste. Whoever wanted to escape from this subjugation went to South India and formed the Tamil kingdoms. It was used to make Indians look unlike the uncivilized Africans. It was used to make Indians look half civilized because they were half white. It made it look like the North Indians and South Indians are a completely different race entirely. It also made it look like that the culture of India was a creation of white people entirely. Now, before 1922, when the Indus Valley civilization remains were found, they used to think that the Dravidians were a tribe of hunter-gatherers that were then civilized and subjugated by the more civilized Aryans. And then when they found out the existence of the Indus Valley civilization, they thought that the Aryan invasion chronicled the fall of the Indus Valley civilization. We have no real evidence as to whether the language that people of Harappa civilization spoke was an ancestor to Sanskrit or an ancestor to Tamil. There was no real evidence of the invasion being the fall of the Indus Valley civilization. It was based entirely on the fact that there were 37 bones found lying around the remains of Mohenjo-daro, and the remains were decayed from violence. Upon closer inspection, it was found out that the bones did not belong to people who were felled by violence, but by sickness or by hunger. Decay on the remains themselves was because of time and erosion. This was made out in the 80s, and since then people have believed that the Indus Valley did not fall to the invasion but to climate change. And yet, I find sources on the first page of Google telling me that Indus Valley fell to invasion. That's ridiculous. But what is equally ridiculous is the claim that the opposite side makes. It posits that the people who spoke Proto-Indo-European and people who spoke Dravidian mixed thousands of years before even the formation of Indus Valley civilization. And Indus Valley civilization is literally just the only civilization we have found from that time period. Anyway, the political implication of this is that the mixture of the Dravidians and the Aryans happened several dozens of thousands of years ago, and they formed the Hindu Vedic civilization several dozen thousands of years ago. And that every civilization that is inspired by the Proto-Indo-European was founded by some Indian moving out of India into Europe or in Iran or anywhere else. You can clearly see that this is an attempt to make Indians look like the superior race. How is this any different from white supremacy? How is this any different from the Aryan invasion theory? I firmly believe that anyone who tries to peddle either of these theories is not trying to find the truth. So then, what is the truth? There is the Aryan migration theory. So, in the 80s, when the proof was apparent that there was no invasion that destroyed the European civilization, the white supremacists moved on their goalposts and said that the Aryans simply migrated instead. This third theory said in between the time of the fall of the Indus Valley civilization because of the climate change and the writing of the first Rig Veda, the Aryans migrated into India and then later formed the second urbanization that happened in India. As time went on, they borrowed and fused with the religion and culture of the local Dravidians or Harappans. This is the usually accepted theory now. I mean, this theory is certainly softer and it's probably closer to the truth. But it's another moving of the goalpost. Unfortunately, we do not know the truth of this time. And any theory I come up with will have the same amount of credence as any of the theories before. So what do you believe in? Well, my beliefs fall in line with a lot of Indian scholars. Humans, you see, are a migratory species. They move from less favorable lands to more favorable lands. And what is the most favorable land but India? People from across the world have always wanted to come here and settle it or trade with it. And why can't there have been a wave of Aryans moving into the Indus Valley civilization and mixing with them? Or a wave of Aryans that moved into the Indian subcontinent even before the formation of Indus Valley civilization, and another wave after it. I mean, the pre-Vedic migration of the Aryans wasn't even the last major migration into India. It wasn't even the third last. India is the land of plenty. No matter where you come from, it makes you Indian. We are brown because we are a mix of every ethnicity in the world. That is what makes an Indian. Aryans did migrate into India, and so did Dravidians. Every human comes from Africa, and they migrated into different parts of the world at different times. No one civilized the other. Humans civilized themselves when they saw the need for it and the conditions meeting it. That's it. Now for the next episode, let's get into actual written history.